Many people at the Walt Disney Company have been named as Bob Iger's successor, and a lot of them end up leaving before they can get the job. Only one of them actually claimed the position, and I think we all know how that turned out. Now we have two names, one put forward by the Wall Street Journal and another put forward by Yahoo Finance. Let's talk about them on That Park Place. Hello, I am Jonas J. Campbell, an investigative reporter for That Park Place, and today I have with me Mr. Culture Casino. Culture, can you tell me the history of everyone that has ever been set to succeed Bob Iger at the Walt Disney Company?
Wow, that would be too long.
It would be too long. So let's focus on two today. Although I'm sure we'll mention at least one other here. Let's talk about Jay Rasulo, first of all, in this piece from the Wall Street Journal. Jay Rasulo, the former CFO of the Walt Disney Company. Here he is handing an enormous gag key over to a guy. I'm going to assume this is in Shanghai, but I don't know why. There might be some context clues there to let us all assume that. Meet the former CFO who thinks he can fix Disney. This by Robbie Whalen from the Wall Street Journal. When Disney's efforts to build a theme park in China became snarled in the late 2000s, chief executive Bob Iger sent his parks chief to Shanghai to figure out why government officials weren't returning calls. Jay Rasulo recalls meeting with a high-ranking Communist Party official on the trip who urged him not to give up. Jay, keep knocking at the gate, the official said. Someday it will open. See, this is why you need more Disney in China. Of course, he should have said someday your prince will come.
There you go.
Nearly a decade after leaving Disney, Rasulo is back, once again knocking at the gates of power, this time as a nominee to join Disney's board as part of activist investor Nelson Peltz's proxy campaign against the company. This is, for those of you who are not familiar with what's going on here, Trian controls 33 million shares. Peltz and Rasulo, well, Peltz has been engaged in a years-long battle to try to get a seat on the board. It has been friendly at times. You could say that Bob Chapek was fired because of the threat of getting Peltz on that board in an observer position. There's a lot of back and forth between the two SEC filings. Disney swearing that he was never offered an observer position. Peltz saying, I was offered an observer position, but that would not have made me go away. And stop the battle here. The outcome of the vote could reshape the company. And here it is. He says, Jay Rasulo says, when people call me about the company and what's going on, I say, don't ask me. It's breaking my heart. When Nelson called me, I decided I couldn't sit on the sidelines. Rasulo has a kind of a complicated history at the company, Culture, and this is why I wanted to have you on. Can you explain a little bit about Rasulo's tenure there, first as a parks guy and then as the CFO?
Yeah, he was actually kind of tapped to be the next leader. Unfortunately, when you're tapped to be the next leader, oftentimes you get exited from the company. In fact, it seems to be one of the most consistent things that Bob Iger does. But no, he went from being a really interesting parks guy. He had been accused during the time that he was there of not necessarily, doing proper investment in the parks and or maintenance of the parks during his tenure there. But he had a good mind for what to actually focus on when it came to the bean counting. Now, that got him into a position where he became the chief financial officer for a period of time, for which he definitely knows where all the bodies are buried. Probably,
Right.
I'm very serious about that.
Well, that's a very apt description considering what's going on with the Reedy Creek Improvement District right now, or the former Reedy Creek Improvement District.
Indeed, yeah, SIF Todd, as it was formerly constituted. He would definitely know things that would be interesting for the governor and maybe some investigators to know who are trying to sort out the sand from the salt, as it were. But I anticipate that that this would be the right man for that job, even to this day. And I think that he is actually a true threat to what Iger would like to do in the future. But he does have a complicated history indeed. And like you said, he still would be a shade better than anything else that we're getting out of there right now.
He started out as a finance executive in the hospitality industry. He was charged with turning around Euro Disney. And and also Disney's California Adventure, if
Yes.
I'm not
Yeah,
mistaken there.
I think you are correct. Yes.
And Disney's California Adventure, I do believe he had a very strong hand in turning that park around. Now, obviously, Euro Disney, we don't talk about that much anymore because it's been replaced with Disneyland Paris, and it's a much nicer park than I think it was at the start. That's one that still struggles, and there's a very unique finance arrangement that with the way that runs over there. I'm not sure that it has ever been fully profitable. I think, according to recent financial statements, they say that Disneyland Paris is now actually profitable.
His tenure at the Disney company was very long, and as somebody who really did specialize in hospitality and travel, he actually served on a lot of different boards, and participated in all kinds of corporate strategic planning for Disney since when he came to the company in 1986.
Yeah.
So yeah, he's more than qualified to lead this company.
Right. Here are two statements that I want to read here. Jay was always a maniac about excellence, says Reginald Washington, former vice president for food and beverage at Disney Resorts, who described Rasulo as an activator and a motivator. That sounds great. Some stuff about his personality here, but I'm a very direct guy. Many people at Disney are not direct, Rasulo said. There are people who want to do their thing and they don't like it when someone calls them on it in a studio budget meeting. What comes to mind for you, Culture, when somebody brings up a studio budget meeting, for instance?
Oh, a studio budget meeting? I don't think they have those. I mean, pretty evident from the way the budgets explode, and they're
Yeah.
not held to any accountability.
Yeah, as I often like to cite the tax documents for The Force Awakens and for Rise of Skywalker over in the UK, collectively, those two films cost $1 billion, $500 million a piece for those movies, to the point where Rise of Skywalker, despite being a movie that made $1 billion at the box office, I'm saying this with air quotes, you can't see the air quotes.
I'll do it.
Yes, thank you. They might not have made money despite that movie making more than $1 billion at the box office. This is why it's so hit or miss, and why right now it's more profitable for Disney to just not release movies from Lucasfilm. We don't even have the final figures on Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny yet.
Oh, April, maybe. I'm shooting for April, end of April.
We'll have to see, and I think even then, I think it might not even be until the following April until we get that. Yeah, terrible. but we'll have to see. If they want their tax credits, they're going to have to own up to that. Now, that being said, there's another person who is circling the CEO role, even though Rasulo, by the way, is saying he doesn't want a management position at the Walt Disney Company. There's another guy, and I have even put this guy's name up as someone who would be a better CEO than Bob Iger right now. This article, however, is causing me to reconsider some of that. This top ex-Disney executive, Mr. Kevin Mayer, tipped as the prime contender to succeed Bob Iger, spotlights 3 traits the next CEO must have. This is an amazing statement right here. I wonder who provided Massimo Mariani from Fortune with that statement right there. He's not wrong. This guy is probably high up on the list when they talk about CEO candidates. And in fact, I think that Mr. J.P. Groman is probably considering Kevin Mayer for the job, but I have to think this is Kevin Mayer's press people that fed this to him. So whatever this event was, Kevin Mayer, prime contender in the race to succeed Bob Iger as Disney CEO, has mapped out what he sees as must-have traits for the next chief executive of the House of Mouse, boasting a rich history with the entertainment behemoth dating back to 1992. Mayer's track record is punctuated by pivotal roles in orchestrating game-changing mergers and acquisitions, including groundbreaking deals for Marvel, good, Pixar, good, and key assets of 21st Century Fox. Wah, wah. He also played a crucial role in steering the launch of Disney Plus. Again, this might have been, I say again, if you're following our videos here, Disney Plus might be the thing that actually killed the company. Yes. At this point. It took several very profitable segments, including media networks. I get it. Media networks had to go away or be diminished in some way. We're talking about cable channels when I say media networks here. ESPN live sports still going strong on ESPN. In fact, Bob Iger admits to that. But Disney Plus coming in and saying, you know what, we're gonna kill our entire physical media business here in order to feed Disney Plus. We're gonna pay $200 million a show in order to put 10 episode series that only last for about a month and a half, 2 months, 2.5 months if they show some restraint there on Disney Plus. Are they making $200 million in revenue off of the people who sign up for it? Well, that would not appear to be the case. Otherwise, they would be making more of them. They're promised that Disney Plus will not be making as much content or as often on the platform, and they're going to pay less money to make that content when they do it. So if Disney Plus was a good thing for the company, I think they'd actually be spending more money on it, and they wouldn't be merging it into Hulu because Hulu is profitable. Disney Plus is not. There's no reason to push those two things together if they're already profitable on their own. Is that fair?
No, you're 100% right. I agree with you 1,000%. In fact, I would have gone a little bit farther in saying that Disney Plus was never what it was promised to be, and it even if they were to turn back and use it as essentially a content library distribution system, which is what, again, Iger sold it to the general public as. I'm not even sure it would be worth that much as well, because Disney did at the time prior to this make a ton of money on physical media sales, and their vault system that was established, I believe, way back in the Eisner era was one of the most successful things they ever did.
Yep, and I would agree. A payment from everyone for a small amount of money for access to Disney's vault, and maybe even you could do a little bit of that vaulting and have something disappear off of the platform for a little bit, or only sell stuff to Netflix for a short period of time in order to bring people onto Disney Plus. By the way, Netflix not having these problems right now, and Netflix at the same number of subscribers was $4 billion in profit. And that was several years ago. So imagine what that would be with inflation. Anyhow, he works for Candle Media, and he's currently contracted as a consultant for the company. Him, along with Tom Staggs, who is his co-CEO over at Candle Media. When they both came in, it was reported that the deals for them both to be consultants for the company were done separately. So I would love to know when each of these men found out that the other one was being brought back as a consultant.
Or they were.
By the way, Tom Staggs, please. We haven't introduced the idea of Tom Staggs. Please go ahead, do that for me, Culture.
Okay, so Tom and Kevin went off to get this venture started, this Candle Media company, and Tom was somebody who also made errors at Disney to help get him shuttled out the door. By the way, he was also tapped to be a potential CEO of the company as well, and he found new and interesting ways to lose a whole lot of money when realigning how the parks would extract money from your wallets. And that's almost a direct quote from what he said during a meeting, that basically that's what the Next Gen project, or the My Magic Plus project, was all about way back when. So
right. And would you argue that Genie Plus is an extension of that Next Gen Magic? So this is a completely different thing that is also this is hurting the parks business more than anything else. Entertainment being held up, okay. The entertainment aspect, the theater aspect, not doing as well as it should. Okay, fine. That they can recover from that eventually. Disney has had strings of flops, but right now, Disney was just recently. Disney World was rated the #1 ripoff by a survey of 5,000 participants, and it's very difficult to say that is not an accurate statement. That also came on the heels of a price increase. Actually, sorry, the price increase came on the heels of the announcement that Disney was the ripoff here. So, and then of course, Genie Plus is essentially you're making a bet against your other park visitors that day to say, no, I think the lines are going to be really bad, so I'm willing to make a $30 bet that I'm not going to be able to get to ride all of the rides that I want to ride. And there's also a lottery system for some rides to where you can't actually get into the ride unless you are one of the few chosen people. Am I misrepresenting this, Culture?
Not at all. In fact, I'd say it's often worse. Disney has really undervalued or devalued the price of a ticket into their own theme parks, because this all-inclusive ticket isn't all-inclusive anymore. It now requires you to buy additional tickets, basically. And it's, like you said, it's a division that Disney tried to remove itself from between the haves and have-nots. And
So Tom Staggs was put forward as a possible CEO candidate to succeed Bob Iger at the same time that Jay Rasulo was put forward as a possible CEO candidate to replace Bob Iger.
Yes.
Eventually, both of those men left the company.
Yes.
And some people would say that they were fired, but no one, I don't think anyone has actually been fired from other than Bob Chapek.
Fired is a word they don't use often at Disney.
Yeah.
Pursuing other opportunities, like somebody who recently was, let go of the live action stuff.
Yes, that's and we'll be talking about him very soon. Maybe he could go start a jewelry business with Latondra Newton.
There you
who
go.
Also exited to pursue other entrepreneurial endeavors. But so we have Tom Staggs, we have Jay Rasulo, but let's return to this statement here from Kevin Mayer, which makes me very much hesitate on my idea that Kevin Mayer needs to be the CEO. He said the 3 traits you need to have in order to be the CEO of the Walt Disney Company. A Disney CEO really has to understand brands, the influence and power that they have, and the responsibility that goes along with having those brands. By the way, up here he says Bob Iger is an incredibly capable CEO. He knows the company inside and out. He and I made those content acquisitions that really changed the face of not only Disney, but also the entertainment industry in many ways. These are 2 statements that, taken on their own, well, the Bob Iger statement makes me basically totally negates the 3 statements that he made about what a CEO of Disney needs to be. Maybe he's campaigning for the job. Maybe he understands that Bob Iger fully controls the succession process for him at the Walt Disney Company. But
it seems very politic, let's just say.
Well, it does, and it makes me lose complete faith in Kevin Mayer. I said that they need to put him in the role, but looking at this now, it makes it seem like he is probably just Bob Iger 2.0, whereas Iger is Eisner 2.0. I used to say that about Iger, at least, but looking back, the brand damage that Eisner was supposedly doing back in the day was these DVD, straight to DVD things like Hunchback of Notre Dame 2, and that was quote unquote damage to the brand. Now I look at the things that Disney is doing, and I long for the days of straight to DVD things that no one watches being the thing that hurts the company.
But wait, that's called Disney Plus now, Jonas.
Right, because
that's straight to DVD.
Well, they've stopped putting content on Disney Plus. It's a content drought. They're going to put some episodes of Bad Batch. They're going to slow walk those on Disney Plus, and they pretty much don't have anything coming out on the service. I don't think that Disney understands the brands that it holds, because I think Disney is becoming a holding company for a bunch of intellectual property at this point. They have a bunch. They have some theme parks that they have inherited from whoever ran the company before them that were very well run. I'm going to say Jay Rasulo, while we had some issues with his pricing, Bob Chapek took that to the nth degree. Josh D'Amaro, he looks real smiley in those sweaters he wears. I'm not seeing a lot here that makes me really impressed with the parks at this point. And I would like to see someone other than Bob Iger in this role. And right now, I don't think Kevin Mayer is far enough away from Bob Iger. Maybe he's close enough to Bob Iger that Bob Iger will say yes.
Like I said, actually, this looks more and more to me like a job application, by Mayer's PR people.
Yeah, and there are instances where that happens. There'll be several articles in close succession, again associated with Yahoo in some way. This is Fortune, but it showed up on Yahoo Finance, where Kevin Mayer shows up. He talks big about Bob Iger, and then they also point out all the successes of Kevin Mayer's career here. Fascinating to me. Fascinating.
It is. And funny is, if you look between the 2 gentlemen, if you compare Rasulo to Mayer or Staggs or anybody else that was, previously tapped for this gig, including a woman who replaced Rasulo in the chief financial officer position until she was recently out of the company for other reasons. I'm going to suggest that what we've been told is accurate. I would pick Rasulo every day of the week. Of course, I would pick Eisner to come back and lead the company at this point. But
I mean, I think that he would be available. He does run Tormonte right now. Forgive me if I'm mispronouncing that, but I think he would probably clear his schedule to hold the bag there at Walt Disney for a little while the name Disney still means something in American minds. This is, of course, why we care so much, because the name Disney does actually mean something, despite Bob Iger's recent efforts. But that being said, we've said some controversial things here, I'm sure. Leave us a comment. Let us know what you think of all this. Are we just being too harsh here? Do you want Jay Rasulo in the job? Do you think Kevin Mayer has what it takes? Do you think Tom Staggs needs to get a little bit better of a press agent so his name gets brought up a little bit more often in this contention for the next CEO of the Walt Disney Company after Bob Iger leaves sometime in 2031? That was only halfway a joke, by the way. That being said, like this video. If you like this video, consider sharing it out on social media. If you know someone who is interested in the topic of CEO succession at the Walt Disney Company, or consider subscribing to That Park Plays for all the news that should be fun.
Thanks for watching That Park Plays News. For more information, consider checking out www.thatparkplace.com. And don't forget to subscribe, share, like, and send this out on your favorite social media accounts.